Okay, everybody, we are going to begin laying on our mats. If you are not already in Shavasana, I encourage you to find your place flat on the floor and begin with some mindful breathing to start our practice today. Just settling into position, whether your hands are on your body or down on the ground by our sides, whether our legs are straight or our knees are bent, exploring what feels good as we begin the process of self-awareness, of checking in with the body, the mind, what's going on. And while we do so, I want you to focus on your breath. The breath is something that we always have with us. We can use it to maintain our attention, to hold our focus. We can also use it to help us relax, calm down, step back, if you will. As we work on this voluntary control of our breathing, I want everyone just to notice the inhale. And then I want you to notice your exhale. Again, notice your inhale and notice the exhale. And as we continue this process, being aware of breathing through the nose, being aware of your rib cage expanding, not worrying too much about how fast or slow you're breathing just yet, finding your natural rhythm today, being mindful, being present, not judging or comparing or analyzing. There's no need to fix anything right now. Instead, we're supposed to be listening. Listen to the body. And whenever your mind wanders off, accept it, become aware of it, and bring it back. Focus on that inhale and focus on the exhale. Notice how that allows our shoulders to maybe finally let go, feeling both right and left shoulder coming down into the mat. Same with our hips. Are we feeling one-sided, tilted, or twisted in any way? Noticing what's neutral for us today. And if we're out of alignment, being aware of that. As we continue to lie down, maybe slowing our breath a little bit more, taking fuller, more complete breaths now. We'll prepare to incorporate some stretching into our breathing. With our next inhale, go ahead and reach those arms long up over the head. Maybe they touch the floor today, maybe they don't. Notice how that feels on the shoulders, maybe through the backs or the ribs, giving our diaphragm more room to contract, to expand. Slowly releasing those arms, I want us to gather our knees into our chest. This position is one of those underrated poses, but it's so good just to become aware of any pinching, any tightness in the hips, any sensitivity in the back, specifically those lower backs today. And we can just rock right to left, side to side, nice and slow, whether it's big or nice and small. Noticing any knots that we might be needing out, like a little back massage. And then I'll ask that we just hold the knees into the body and start rolling our ankles. Rolling through the ankles, encouraging blood flow and circulation. Whether we've been able to get out for a walk lately or if we've been confined to our desk, let's encourage blood flow. Preparing to single that out in a single stretch, holding just the right knee. We'll bring the left foot to the floor, and if you're able to, extend that left leg all the way down into the mat. Now gently draw the right knee open towards that right shoulder. We'll try to maintain right and left sides of body equal and even down on the floor, but notice more the inside of the right hip. And then we're going to change this, drawing the knee over towards the left shoulder any pinching, any tightness in that outside of right hip. I'm just careful of our breathing, continuing to monitor slow inhale and a slow, purposeful exhale as we draw the knee in and down to the floor. We'll repeat this to the other side, bringing the left knee in, opening that leg out towards the left shoulder, and if we're able to, firmly pressing the right leg down into the mat. A little active tension to lengthen through the front of that right hip. We can bring the knee over towards the right shoulder now, feeling some stretch in the outside of that left hip. Bringing the leg in through the middle and lowering down. We're going to place both feet flat on the floor now, about hips width distance apart, drawing the heels in relatively close to the body, preparing for glute bridges. Arms come down by our side, roll those shoulders into the mat, opening across the collar. Let's inhale, lift our hips up to the ceiling, activating the glutes, stretching through the front of our hips. Exhale, slowly lower, one vertebrae at a time. We'll do this a couple more times. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, slowly release. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, release. And one more time. Inhale, lifting up. And exhale, lower. Continuing to maintain this position, we're going to bring our arms out to the sides. Little abdominal activation with our alternating marches. Keep the body still on the floor as we isolate one hip at a time. Inhale, lifting the right knee up about 90 degrees. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lifting left knee. Exhale. Inhale, right, just marching the leg. Exhale. Inhale, left. Exhale, notice how strong you have to be with the core. Inhale, right. Exhale, lower. Inhale, left. Exhale, we'll do one more on each side. Inhale, right. Exhale, down. And inhale, left. Exhale, down. Now, keeping our feet where they are, taking hands to side of head, elbows wide, activating through all the muscles, nice little squeeze, lifting up through the pelvic floor and keeping the abdominal muscles engaged. We slight tuck of the chin and then inhale, lift up into an abdominal crunch. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale, never pulling on the head, using the abdominal muscles to inhale. Exhale, we have two more. Inhale, activating those abdominals. Exhale, and last time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Release those arms, and now gently just roll over through fetal position or baby pose onto hands and knees. We'll take ourselves into tabletop. Continuing to work on core strength and stability, finding hands under shoulders, knees under hips as we come into our spinal balance. Reaching the right arm forward, thumb towards the ceiling. Let's bring that left leg back behind us and lower down. Inhale, left arm, right leg. Exhale, lower. Inhale, right. Exhale. How's our balance today? Inhale, left. Could we hold a glass of water on our back the whole time? Exhale, down. Inhale, right. Exhale. Inhale, left. Exhale, we'll do one more each side. Inhale, right. Exhale, down. And inhale, left. Exhale. Hold it here. Let's take our cats and cows next. Looking forward, opening the chest, inhale into cow. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, rounding up to cat. Inhale, untuck the tailbone, one vertebrae at a time, lifting the head tall. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, round the back, all the way to cat. Inhale, one more of each, opening up through the front. And exhale, rounding up, pull those bellies in nice and tight. Pressing back into child's pose. Sink the hips nice and low in towards the heels. Maybe they touch, maybe there's lots of space. Extending the arms forward if we can to stretch through the shoulders and relax the head. Let's take an opportunity here just to check in with ourselves. How is the body feeling? How is it to practice voluntary breath? Are we struggling with our breathing, or is it coming easily today? And then just notice your focus. Is it wandering frequently? Are we able to bring it back? Important things to check in with as we prepare for our modified flow series. A little push-up. Inhaling forward into plank. Let's stay on our knees. As we exhale, lower partial, not all the way, just a little bit, and then press straight up and push back into child's pose. We'll do a few of these. Inhaling forward, kneeling plank. Exhale, hover above the mat, baby crocodile. Inhale, press straight up into kneeling plank. Exhale, push back into child's pose. Inhaling forward. Exhale, elbows brushing rib cage. Inhale, press straight up, keeping backs nice and flat. Exhale, push back into child's pose. One more time. Inhaling forward to kneeling plank. Exhale, hover, baby crocodile. Inhale, push up. Exhale, push back, child's pose. Hold it here. Curling the toes underneath of us. We're going to lift those hips up nice and high, finding our downward facing dog. Now just easing into this, maybe we need to keep our knees quite bent. Maybe our heels are far away from the ground. Notice how this feels as we press into the fingers, the palms of the hands, spreading those fingers out. And then I want us to look at our feet and start walking the dog, pedaling right to left foot, toe to heel. Maybe we're getting a stretch through the arches or the toes. Maybe we're feeling a response up the backs of the legs. And from here, we'll walk our feet all the way up into our hands, taking as many steps as we need to come halfway up into monkey. Monkey pose is creating a tabletop surface with our back. Belly's in, backs are nice and flat. Knees can be a little bit soft as we really work on fine-tuning our posture. Let's activate those shoulder blade muscles in the back. And then soften those knees. Big inhale, lift all the way up tall. And exhale, release. Take a moment if you need a drink of water or if you need to adjust any of your clothing or your setup. I'm just gonna remove my socks so I have better grip on my mat. Taking ourselves into Tadasana, our mountain pose, as we prepare for just a short sun salutation series. And at any point in our sun salutation series, if you'd rather hold the position rather than continue the flow, please feel free to do so. Mountain pose, feet are right underneath our hips, finding all four corners of the feet, lifting up through the arches, opening up through those shoulders, standing very proud with crowns tall on top of our head. Taking our first flow, we inhale, hands all the way up above head. Now exhale, swan dive, hinging from the hips down into forward fold. Oh, that's a big stretch. Inhale, halfway up into monkey pose. Exhale, release through forward fold, softening the knees, bringing the hands to the mat. And we'll step back into plank position, working on those graceful coordinations. And back all the way into downward facing dog. From here, we'll take another flow series. Inhale forward into plank. You can keep your legs straight or take the knees to the ground as we lower. This is chaturanga, all the way to the mat. Inhale, lift up for cobra. Maybe just a baby to start. And then press back with your exhale, down dog or child's pose. You get to choose. Slowly walk our hands and feet together. Maybe it's one step of each foot or maybe a whole bunch of steps. We'll come halfway up into monkey. Work on that posture. Now softening the knees, inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up to prayer. Adding a squat, we'll sweep into chair pose. We're going to do this flow one more time. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, swan dive, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Increasing our heart rate a little bit here as we lift up halfway into monkey pose. Exhale, release down through forward fold, placing our hands on the floor, stepping our feet back into plank position, pushing all the way back into downward facing dog. Preparing for that flow series. If you'd like to join, we inhale forward into plank. Exhale, chaturanga, controlled lower. Inhale, lifting up for cobra. Exhale, pressing back, down dog or child's pose. Walking those feet in, coming up halfway to monkey. We'll soften our knees, big inhale, sweep the arms up to prayer above the head, and exhale, sweep, sitting into chair pose. Inhale, lift those arms up, and exhale, release them. Take a moment, readjust any clothing that needs adjusting, finding that Tadasana stance again as we prepare for lateral extension. This is going to open up the side of our body. Take that right arm all the way above the head. I'm gonna squat down so you can see my arm. And then I want you to reach the right arm a little bit higher, pressing into that right hip, into that right foot. We're stretching all the way down this right side, really lifting up. Lots of space between neck and shoulder. And then release that side. We'll take the left arm up, press away from that left hip, open up through that arm. Nice big reach. Big inhale, lift up. And exhale, release that all. Taking our step to the top of the mat, we're going to be working through a warrior series, starting with warrior 1. Keeping our right foot on the ground in front at the top of the mat, we place that left foot directly behind us. It can be as wide as your hips for your base of support. That back foot can be angled out towards 45 or more straight, depending on how long your Achilles is, your ankle, to keep the feet flat on the floor. Bending into that right knee, we lift tall through the upper body, arms included. If that bothers anyone's shoulders, let's find heart center instead. Noticing our balance, noticing the distribution between big toe and little toe on both feet, heels and toes, shoulders down, abdominal muscles engaged. Let's take just a few breaths here. Warrior 1 is supposed to instill calmness, some level of peace. So I'll ask that we really try. Just maintain our focus. Notice how that feels in the back of that left calf. Taking one more big inhale. Exhale into warrior 2. Turn to the side, bend forward into that right knee a little bit more to really open up those shoulders, open up the hips. Imagine a wall right behind you. Everything is touching the wall. Hands, elbows, knees, shoulders, hips, head. That means we want that back. Hold it here really nice and strong. We're going to maintain the legs as we work a little bit lower, a little bit deeper into the hips. Good. Preparing for our side angle. Let's make a right angle of that right elbow as we bring it down to the thigh. The left arm can come up to the ceiling. Again, if that bothers anybody, we bring the arm down behind us. Knowing where our arms exist in space, making them purposeful and intentional. Notice their strength, their energy, feeling the sensation through the inside of that right thigh. From here, we'll take a big inhale, lifting up through warrior 2. Straighten out the leg, triangle. Hitch at the hip as we just reach a little bit farther forward, like I'm trying to grab your hand. And then take that right arm down, the left arm up to the ceiling. Notice we still want backs flat. If this bothers anyone and you'd rather come back into side angle, I invite you to do that instead. Otherwise, a little bit deeper through triangle, not grabbing onto that bottom leg. Instead, lifting with that top left arm. Take a big inhale, lift up. And softening the knees, we're going to flow down, waterfall the hands. Take your time, and then step back into plank. From here, take yourself all the way back into down dog or child's pose. Now, we have the choice of if we'd like to continue to hold the stretch or if we'd rather work. If you'd like to do the flow series with me, we'll do it 2 times. If you'd prefer to stay in your stretch, please enjoy that slow, deep breathing. We'll inhale forward into plank. Exhale, slowly lower, chaturanga. Inhale, scooping up for cobra. Exhale, pressing back, down dog or child. One more time if you're flowing. Inhale forward, plank position. Exhale, chaturanga, controlled lower. Inhale, pressing up for cobra. Nice big extension. Exhale, press back, down dog or child. Now all of us together, walking those hands and feet together. Coming up halfway to monkey position. Belly's in, shoulder blades squeezing together in the back. Balance that water glass on your back. Softening our knees, big inhale, lift tall. And exhale, release. Let's take a moment at the top of our mat. Rolling the shoulders down, finding Tadasana. If anyone needs a drink, now's the opportunity to grab it. Otherwise, we're standing tall, standing proud. We're acknowledging that our heart rate has risen slightly. Let's regain control of our breathing. Preparing to repeat that warrior series. This time, warrior 1 starts with our left foot at the top of our mat and that right leg coming directly behind us. As wide as our hips for a broader base of support, as long as we're able to get, keeping both hips and shoulders relatively square to the front of the room. Arms come up, shoulders stay down, and then choose where the final destination of our arms is going to be. Maybe closing our eyes as well as we internalize our practice. Focusing on how this feels, the feet on the floor. Is there fidgeting through the feet? Is there muscle contraction happening through the ankles, the legs? How's our breathing coming? Is it full? Slowly opening up into warrior 2. Okay, so with warrior 2, we're now bending into our left knee. We're looking over that left arm. Shoulders are back. We're trying to open up the thighs, open up our hips. Focus on your breathing, lots of energy. So if we were in a room together right now and I came around and I was pressing on your arm, there would be resistance. I would not be able to press your arms down because there's so much energy coming out of the fingers. That active tension. Now continuing to hold the legs if we can, we're coming down into side angle. That left elbow comes onto the front left thigh, and then the right arm's coming up nice and high. Now notice that we're never collapsing or slouching. We're always lifting that top right arm up nice and high to the ceiling. And if that's bothering you in any way, we support it in our lower back. Oh, I just noticed myself, I was holding back a little bit, bending forward more through the front knee if you're able to. Taking that last big inhale. And exhale, release, coming up, warrior 2. Very nice, triangles next. Straightening out that leg. If you need to adjust the feet at all, let's do so. The knee is never locked, a little straight as we hitch the hip, reach forward with that left hand, and then bring that arm down, and we can bring that right arm up again. Noticing that we're always lifting through that shoulder, unless it's bothering you. We're feeling an amazing stretch through the inside of the left thigh and through that right rib cage. We're expansive. Notice your breathing. Use it to help you. Softening that knee, big inhale, lift up. Amazing. Exhale, waterfall, slow, controlled, graceful transition to the floor. Sweep back into plank when you're able to, and then press back into down dog or child's pose. The choice is going to be yours again, whether you'd like to work with me, working through the flow series, or if you'd prefer to stretch and hold the position. We're going to start now with our inhale forward into plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, lifting up. Exhale, pressing back into down dog or child. Repeating one more time. Inhale forward to plank. Exhale, slow lower. Inhale, lifting up. And exhale, pressing back. Noticing how all of these positions feel, especially as we progress through our practice, getting a little bit deeper, a little bit longer, a little bit more in tune with how our body's operating and functioning today. And let's walk our hands and feet together. Coming up halfway to monkey, flattening the backs, pulling those shoulders in. Softening our knees, big inhale, lift up. And exhale, release. Rolling those shoulders down. Again, taking a moment, maybe grabbing a drink, finding Tadasana whenever we're ready. I will warn you, we are going to come into a couple of balances, and if you're someone who prefers to have a chair, a wall, or a table nearby for assistance, just moving yourself towards that object now. We're going to start with tree, the traditional single leg balance. Extending that right leg out to the side, open through the hip and bring the foot in. Feel free to leave your foot on the floor as a kickstand, maybe bringing it up just above the ankle bone to the calf or above the knee to the inner thigh. Opening the leg as we bring arms into position, whether they're high branches, maybe assuming prayer, or even down through heart center. And don't feel limited once you've chosen to have to stay there. You can absolutely change the position. As we hold tree, I want us to remember we've got a crown on top of our head. Wear it proudly. Open across your heart. Lift taller through that crown. Notice if your bottom foot's really fidgeting, if your leg has to work really hard. As we lift out of that left hip to open across both right and left. One more big inhale. Coming through the middle. And exhale, release. Fidgeting out the feet, if you'd like, I encourage it so we avoid foot cramps, especially if we've been confined to a desk all day. Let's repeat that on the left. Bringing that leg out, we just find balance, transfer to right, supporting leg, open through the hip. As we find the position of the left foot, preferably matching that of the right, but not necessarily. Same with the arm position. Not going to be exactly where it was last time. Maybe it will be. Holding our position, finding that spot we can focus on. Notice your breathing as we lift really tall out of that right hip, opening through that left thigh. One more big inhale. Exhaling through the middle. And again, I'll just encourage that we release through the feet. Good. Roll it down. And let's get ready for our final balance standing. This will be dancer. Let's open up the entire front of the body. Taking the right leg back first. This is our hip extension. Now leaving your hand up, we try to grab the inside of the foot. If that bothers you at all, just grab it wherever it feels good. As we roll that shoulder down, try to bring the legs together. That free arm, if it's not holding an object, it can reach forward. And then if you're able to, turn to the side so you can see, we'll start pressing that foot back into the hand, which causes everything to lift. And then if you need more space through the hip, we can dip a little bit, but notice my crown never falls off my head. And we're trying to keep the leg within the body's frame as we stretch down the right side of our body. Little active tension, pressing from foot into hand. Good, watch your breathing. One more big inhale. And exhale down. Now notice what that felt like, what distance, what range we had, and let's explore how it feels on the other side. Without judgment, without competition, we're just interested in exploring. Taking that left leg back, palm is up. Hopefully we can grab the inside, but again, if that's not happening today, maybe just grab the outside. Rolling everything back into the body's frame. Right arm holds an assistant or reaches forward as we press that foot back. Now notice the foot presses back, and as a result, the chest comes down. We're never leaning forward. We're always working on balance, keeping our body square, keeping that foot working back into the hand. Watch your breathing. Keep that crown held highly. One more big inhale. Exhale, release. And you can fidget. Rolling those shoulders down, preparing to come to the mat. We'll bring ourselves to the top of our mat. Big inhale, lift up. Exhale, swan dive. We're going to find forward fold and stay here. Oh my goodness. Let the vertebrae separate from one another. Provide some space between those discs. If we've been sitting at a desk, or even if we've been standing at a workstation, just noticing the compression that happens throughout the day. Wanting to give ourselves just a little bit more space, a little bit of freedom in our movement. That's why it's been said that we feel taller after yoga, because we've given ourselves the space, a little bit of length. Now while we're here, go ahead and shake the head no. And then go ahead and nod the head yes. How's that feel as we stretch the posterior chain, the back side of the body? Coming down into tabletop. We're going to continue the stretch of the back side of the body, working through thread the needle. Taking that right arm, lift it up as high as we can with an inhale towards the ceiling. And exhale, threading underneath that left arm. Some of us may be able to get on the elbow, the shoulder, maybe even down on the ear. Now while we're here, we can reach that left arm maybe forward. Stretching into that right shoulder, down the right arm, maybe even feeling this in the upper back. Coming up through the middle, taking your time, finding that neutral table, preparing to repeat that on the left. We inhale, lift the left arm nice and high, open through the rotation of thoracic mobility, and then exhale, sweep under the right side, laying into that left ear if we're able to, and then we can extend that right arm overhead. Couple big breaths here, everyone. And slowly coming back up through table. We're going to stretch our shoulders in one more way right now in puppy dog. Puppy dog is just like it sounds. It's a mix of down dog, but a little bit smaller. So we're going to be taking our arms out a little bit more forward of us, maybe spread out a little wider than our shoulders, and then sit our hips up like you're pressing the tailbone up for down dog, but then we try to bring our chest towards the floor. Some of us will get to bring our forehead, and if you need more, some of us can bring our chins onto the ground, really scooping out the backs. Take a couple big breaths. And then slowly slithering forward all the way onto our stomachs. We're all encouraged just to take our hands underneath our forehead, relax the body completely into the mat. I consider this rest position while in prone, laying stomach down. Go ahead and just take a few breaths. Notice how the body feels. And then taking a chest opener, we'll bring our arms out to the side as we prepare to come into scorpion. Now, following along as best you can. It's quite simple, but sometimes we can get ourselves twisted like a pretzel. What we want to do is just take our right elbow under our shoulder and bend your right knee. So we've just got the right side of our body propped up, and we're going to roll over that left shoulder. Some of us will roll just a little bit, and some of us can get all the way around, putting that right knee up towards the ceiling. If you need more, go ahead and bring both knees up. That's just too much for my shoulder, so I keep my left leg straight. Take one more big inhale here, and then exhale, roll onto your stomach. Bringing both legs down, both arms out, and just making sure we found neutral. As we now take our left hand under the left shoulder, bend that left knee, and roll over that right side. Now, you may be able to get farther on this side, maybe rolling different. Remember, take each side of the body, each time we enter and exit a pose, independent. We want to live in the present. So being aware of differences, but not holding on to that. Now slowly come back onto our stomach. This is a nice big stretch for the front of the shoulder, the anterior deltoid, and a little bit through the chest muscles and the back. As we take our hands under a rib cage next, let's lift up for one final spinal extension, opening the chest in cobra. Really press away from those hands, lifting tall through the head, long neck. And now press back into child's pose. Sinking the hips down, reaching those arms forward, and relax the head. If you'd rather come into rest with the hands, returning them underneath the forehead is fine. Maybe opening the knees a little wider. I'm noticing my back wants just a little bit more, so I'm sitting lower through my legs now. And we'll slowly work ourselves up through tabletop. Sweep those legs around and come all the way onto our backs. Now, if you've got socks or sweaters or blankets that you'd like to finish your practice with, please feel free to put those on now. If you need to grab a drink before laying down for our final couple of stretches, absolutely now's the time to get comfortable. Whenever you're ready, just getting ourselves all the way flat back. Preparing for the last couple of stretches before we enter final relaxation. Now, while down here, we're going to finish off all of the torso release, coming into our spinal twist. We bring our arms out to the side again, just like we did in our scorpion. Now finding final twist, we inhale right knee up about 90 degrees to the ceiling, and then lower that leg over to the left. Once the leg is settled and it's comfortable, let's try to press both shoulders down into the mat, looking over that right arm, making an S curve from head to toe. Notice wherever we might be feeling the release down the right side as we try to let go. Feel our breath coming slower now. Inhale, lifting the knee up, and exhale, lower down. Inhale now the left knee, exhale over to the right side. And then when you're able to, let's try to bring both shoulders down onto the mat, looking over that left arm. And just notice what we're feeling now along the left side of our body. Bringing the leg in and slowly lowering it down. We'll take the feet flat on the floor. One final time of opening up through those hips, just assuming butterfly. Pull the feet pressed together. Hands can come to inner thighs, bellies, or stay wide on the floor. Noticing how butterfly, when we're on our backs like this, can be quite restorative. Noticing perhaps that your back is just open. Maybe we finally let our abdominal muscles go after they've been tense, working hard during our class. Giving more space, more expansiveness to the rib cage, the lungs, the diaphragm. And some of us like to enter our final relaxation with butterfly. Feel free to do so. And if you'd like to exit the pose, we'll just bring those knees in, maybe finish with a hug, and take those legs down into Shavasana. Whatever the position we've chosen, let's give ourselves permission to let go, to relax, and to remain focused and attentive to our breathing. Today I'll ask that we follow a 4 square breath where we're going to inhale for 4. We'll pause our breathing for 4 counts. We'll exhale for 4, and then we'll pause for 4 counts. We'll do this together 2 times. Taking just a couple natural breaths. And preparing to begin. We inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it. 4, 3, 2, 1. And continue your own breathing now. Noticing the calmness that's washing over us. Perhaps we've been able to gain perspective, some clarity, an opportunity to consider what may be important, what we have to do ahead, or maybe it was just an opportunity during our practice today to let everything else get set aside and just focus on us for just a few minutes. Let's take an opportunity to thank ourselves for putting self-care, our health and well-being as a priority. That's no small feat, and it's something to be quite proud of. And as we continue that slow breathing, I want us to start to wiggle our fingers and our toes as we return, reawakening the body, maybe fluttering our eyelashes open, just becoming more aware of the lighting. And we can bring those legs in, whether we give ourselves a hug or just kind of windshield wiper, rocking the knees, loosening up through the junction of hips and backs. And in your own time, we can roll over to our sides, pressing ourselves up into our final easy seated position. I'm just taking a couple of shoulder rolls as we get up here, making sure that we're happy with our posture. We've become aware of exactly how our body's functioning today. And as our final goodbye, we'll just bring those arms up. Nice big inhale to prayer. Exhaling down through heart center. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciate you joining me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next Monday.